Welcome to Outdoor Resorts in sunny Indio, California, where we've spent the last 2 months hiding from winter.
Living in Winnebago's brand new Horizon has been more fun and a joy than we ever expected.
And we thought we'd give you a tour of the resort and our new Horizon.
Well, it's mid-March. We've been in the Horizon for 2 months. I'm watching people across the street play pickleball, and we've had our breakfast. And I have to tell you, I want to reflect on how much I love this kitchen. And the reason why is lots of space for food prep, for food serving, or both. This huge double sink, which I love, and storage underneath it, which is equally as large as the 2 sinks. The induction cooktop, lots of storage for food and dishes and stainless.
Behold the splendor of the nook. And it's sort of, it's really interesting the way this works is that you have a really big, deep storage area here. And you can see we've got some tall bottles here. You could have larger pots. You could divide that with
container store stacking
yep.
Shelves.
And then, the Fisher & Paykel dishwasher.
Dishwasher's very quiet.
But above it, and this is what I think really makes this space unique, is this nice work counter. And
yes.
That's where we've got our coffee maker. I think, we're talking about maybe a good spot for a toaster oven because there's an outlet here. And then the microwave on top.
Convection oven.
Finally, a residential refrigerator. And I think the key takeaways here, it's 23 cubic feet, it's got French doors. What I really love is how much freezer space it has, and I think that's because this design moves the ice maker up under the door. So we've been able to actually go to Costco and actually buy, some quantities of food that we could divide, put in the freezer, and I think what sort of sums up living in the Horizon, it feels a lot like a residential experience.
It does. Yeah. I feel like I'm home, and I love that it's all open in here and friends can be sitting there and you're still in the kitchen.
Yeah. And this is something that's really hard to get across in a video, is how different the Horizon feels compared to traditional RVs. It's sleek, it's uncluttered, all this cabinet storage above us on both sides of the main living part of the coach.
Indirect lighting.
And there's no hardware on the outside of the cabinets. It's all hidden European latches. So you get that complete unbroken line that just makes this feel like you're sitting on a very high-end yacht.
One of the other things I happen to love is this floor that we have in this particular model of the Horizon. And it's sleek, it's clean, but yet it's not so slippery that we worry about it if we paddle in after the going over to the hot tub or something like that. It just wipes up so nicely, and it's beautiful to look at.
This unit has a central vacuum system. So it's a long hose that covers both to the front and the back of the coach, but it also has an outside outlet, which I've used for vacuuming off the cushions on the lawn furniture.
Instead of carpet underneath the sofa, it's a mat, kind of like a Chill Witch, which is a very high-end table coverings. But it's just so elegant looking, and it's so much cleaner without having carpet underneath it.
Throughout the coach, we have great lighting control using the Firefly. It's called multiplexing, and what it is that at every panel you've got different controls for lighting. So where Terry's sitting right now, above her head is a panel that allows her to, it looked like an airline demo, the oxygen mask may drop, yeah. So,
well, that's pretty cool.
That is, but there's no oxygen mask, but there's a panel there that lifts the television up, controls the lighting that's above our heads for reading, and everything is dimmable, which is really cool too. So we can set different lighting scenes and different moods for whatever tasks that we're doing. So that kind of complete control is all throughout the coach, and it even extends to the outdoor bays in terms of controlling the lights on there. Once you have had a multiplex lighting system, you will not accept anything else. It is really terrific. These are easy to read panels. Not every manufacturer, but these are easy to see at night. And they also tell you the status of how they're working. In other words, you'll see this little blue LED come on. That shows you that the light is on. So just quickly at a glance, I know in the evening, if I don't hit the master switch to turn all the lights off, I just touch where the blue dots are, and that turns the lights off. And that's just been a huge livability bonus. One of the really, really good furniture pieces, and this is something Winnebago is really good at, is what they call their Rest Easy sofa. The other thing that is really cool that you don't initially see is the built-in footrests and ottomans. This is sort of typical in a lot of rigs where you walk in, there's an ottoman in the middle of the floor, and you're always sort of walking to the left and walking to the right of it, and they're nice to have for, putting your feet up and the like. But the idea that it's integrated into the couch is awesome, because that also means it's out of the way during the day, and we're not tripping over it or sliding it from one side to the other. I think there's one thing that a lot of people don't talk about in mobile living. It's that whether you work part-time or full-time on the road, or you are just, vacationing, there's a certain point where an iPad or a laptop is going to come out, and a workspace is really important. And this dinette is just fantastic. It is the Winnebago Glide and Dine, where the entire dinette can move from side to side and gives you some flexible space. But here are things, you really start to really appreciate when you're using this space. First of all, these are really comfortable chairs to sit in. They're comfortable chairs to work in, and they're certainly comfortable to entertain with. There are also 2 folding chairs that come with this set. We have 1 leaf in right now, but we can add a second leaf, so we definitely get sitting very easily for 4 or even 5 around the table. And again, we're close to the kitchen. It's really a very, very comfortable space, so that when we've had 6 to 8 people into the living area, everybody has a comfortable place to sit. Right here above the driver's seat is the electronics cabinet, and this is really where the 21st century shows up into the motorhome. You have everything that's pre-wired and ready to go for whatever you want to do. You can have satellite, you can have cable, there's off the air with an outside antenna, and also the ability, and the way I've got it set up here, is for streaming. So I have our cable modem coming into the rig. I have a router here. Actually, I use a Google router that also has an extended Wi-Fi, where I have a mesh, so I've got perfect Wi-Fi signal in the coach and outside of the coach. And then also you've got a switcher here that allows you to take any input and send it to any TV. Why that's awesome is that you can have somebody streaming something in the bedroom, but then maybe watching a live sport event off the satellite in the front room. So it gives you complete flexibility in terms of where you want to send your signals. It's also worth noting that one thing that's missing here is the old stereo receiver. Gosh, I'm so happy to see that go away. And for really good theatrical sounding audio in the front room, the Samsung television that comes up in the televator behind the dinette has its own soundbar and a subwoofer, and it sounds really good. One of the things that Terry and I really benchmark is, can you hear the English accents on the Crown? Well, the answer is yes, you can, because the sound is very clear and it's very rich. And most importantly, you're controlling sound with your TV remote, and that's one less thing you have to deal with.
As much as I love the kitchen, I think I like this bathroom even a little bit more. And it's because of its design and storage. And it's so clean and sleek the way Winnebago has designed it. There are 3 of these, which I don't know. I find it hard to fill things up in here because there's so much storage space. I love the light that we get from our fan and the light we have above in the shower. The light bar with the stainless bar with lighting coming out behind it. Shower is roomy and very comfortable to use. The Tecma toilet is awesome. It's easy to use and very easy to keep clean. There's storage over here above the toilet and more storage here that probably you could use for things that you can't fit in a living area or a kitchen. So between the kitchen and here, there's all kinds of storage in this Horizon. Don and I were pretty excited when we saw the bedroom in this Horizon. It started with the storage. There is plenty of storage, deep storage, above the bed. There are 3 drawers on either side, along with a huge wardrobe that half is Don, half is mine, and we haven't even worn all the clothes that we have in there in 2 months. There's a washer and dryer and also a storage bin for cleaning supplies. And then finally on storage, behind this sliding bedroom door, there is a whole full height of the door storage bins behind there that light up. It's a king-size bed. It comes standard with a queen, but we were very impressed with the comfort. It's an ideal rest bed with electronic adjustable controls for firmness. So we kind of like not using the air conditioner if we don't have to. It starts with operable windows over here above the dresser. It has a ceiling fan that is quiet at night and 2 operable windows up by the head of the bed. This control panel above the bed has been really a nice feature for us. There are 2 controls for the lights on either side of the bed. There is a control for the fan, the bedroom light, the TV lift, the bed lift, the generator, and to turn off the master lighting throughout the coach.
That's some hot water. This comes from the AquaHot system that gives you your hot water, and it also gives you your heat. The heat comes from heating up glycol tubes, and there are fans that push the air through the tubes, and you get basically the equivalent to a forced air heating throughout the coach. That works really, really well. For hot water, it runs off of electric, but also diesel. And this is sort of cool. The diesel will really heat this system up very, very quickly. It doesn't pollute, and it's not very loud outside the coach, and you just hear a little hum inside the coach. A big bonus with the AquaHot system is it's sort of in the middle of the coach, so in the morning the bathroom floor is warm, so that's an extra bonus about the AquaHot system. So let's talk electrical, and it starts up front here with an Onan 10,000 watt generator, which is more than enough to power the 3 rooftop air conditioners, which actually are pretty quiet when you're inside the coach. You can absolutely carry on a conversation without having to raise your voice. You've got shore power. Of course, it's a 50 amp connection, automatic transfer, so that transfers between shore power and generator. And for those times when you're maybe on batteries, you've got a solar panel that will keep your batteries topped off. And that's really actually more important for when you're storing the rig to keep battery charge healthy versus just running it, where you really still are going to need the generator. And there's going to be times that maybe you've been on battery power, that the generator will kick on if the battery levels get too low, operate everything and keep those batteries charged, so you're always with power. There is a huge awning that gives you plenty of extra shade. There's also a second awning up over the entryway, and that's great because both of these are lit. When you come from a small rig like we have with our Navion, you just sort of sit there agawk at how much storage is in a diesel pusher. Now, if you own a big rig, you're probably thinking that's no big deal. But it really, with Winnebago, they have always found really good ways to optimize storage. So we've got storage in a couple of compartments here. And one that I really like is that there's an option where you can get a Dometic freezer refrigerator that will roll out on tracks. And if that's great for entertaining, because then just a little further up, there's a hatch that accesses a propane line. And the only propane that really is in the vehicle here is a 20-pound tank. It sits up in the compartment in the front near the driver's side. And you fill that up, so then you've got a convenience outlet for a barbecue or a heater, any kind of propane appliance that you'd like. Another thing as we walk down the side here worth mentioning is that you've got dual fills for your diesel, so you can pull up to a pump on either side and fill with fuel. On the driver's side is the DEF tank, so that's more common than not to have both your DEF and your diesel on that side, but there are occasionally places where it's really nice to have the diesel fill on the passenger side. Winnebago does something different with their chassis, and it's called the Maxim chassis. It's a modified Freightliner chassis with lower center rails, which gives you a better center of gravity for coach handling, but most importantly, it gives you a lot of extra storage. Now, my big rig friends, they can't do what I'm about to show you. All right, we're gonna open the door here, and we're gonna open the door here. And we're going to pull out a double-side, double-wide drawer. And this is awesome because just like you have in competitive products, it does open out and it goes the other way, but you don't get this width. And what is really fantastic about that, and why this is different, is when you can see your stuff, it's easier to get to your stuff. And here we've really found that this has been just fantastic for our outdoor living. There's also a lower layer of storage and a little more side layer, and it's pretty epic. I just find this the coolest feature of all of our storage options here. On the driver's side of the Horizon are all the service bays, starting with the engine service bay, also where you store your shore power cord, your cable connection goes in, and then here is the main part of the water and sewer. Everything's very, very well laid out. What I really, really like is the fact that with the Firefly multiplex system, you can turn on the compartment lights. You can turn them on from inside the coach, or if you're outside here in the coach. And here I've got controls that turns on a top light, which is great if I'm having to make connections in the dark, and then also see my compartment. What's also really nice is that you're not on your knees dumping your holding tanks. It's as simple as, you know, pulling your black drain, letting that go, and then pulling your gray. And it's really simple. There's also cutouts here that your hose fits through. Makes it really clean and slick and very neat when you're set up at your campsite. It's also whole house water filtering. So as you have water coming into the coach, you know, you've got a first level of water filtering. I tend to use one right at the hose level, so that gives me first step. Then I've got the coach water filter, and that's really, I think, about all one needs. The One Key system allows you to start the ignition, but also unlock all your outside hatch doors. And this is really convenient and cuts down on a large key ring. When you talk about a motorhome, we've been talking a lot about the home part, but let's talk about the motor part. And here at the front part of the cab, I'm sitting looking at a Freightliner dashboard, and it's a Freightliner chassis with a Cummins 400 horsepower engine and the Allison 6-speed transmission that you find very often in coaches of this nature. I find the cockpit layout is really comfortable. Everything is really within easy access. And driving a big rig versus our smaller Sprinter-based Navion, it's easy to drive, but it does require more attention. You're very cognizant of where you are on the road and where you are within the lane, and knowing that, starting to learn your buttons of where you can automatically raise your shades and turn on lighting, switch your heating controls. That's all pretty intuitive or easy to find out without taking your eyes off the road. And of course, the Excite infotainment system has the largest display available in the industry for looking at the GPS. And I love my Rand McNally software. I've taken the time to really learn it and to use it. It is truly a great traveling companion for me in terms of navigation. The side cameras, especially one on the right side, is hugely helpful as far as seeing anything on your blind spot. And even though Terry will direct me into spaces, I find a really high degree of confidence with a large coach having that rear video camera. I also find that the adjustments of the seating here are excellent. It gives me good thigh support. I can adjust lumbar support, height, distance away from the pedals, and the ability to move the pedals closer or further away. It really allowed me to really customize my experience. Here I was able to get it really in a good spot where I could see everything in the dash and get all the information I needed going down the road.
Being the co-pilot or passenger on our little excursion in the Horizon has been really comfortable in this great plush chair, lots of room. And also while I'm sitting here, there's an electric stair cover that I can put down so my feet can rest comfortably on the floor while I'm enjoying myself. And I have an infotainment system of my own on this side. And there's a section on the dash here where you can lift it up and store pens and a few other items in there, but it also has a USB charger in there, which is kind of nifty when your phone starts getting a little low on battery. With the slides in, it's pretty easy access to get through the galley, get into the refrigerator, or take a bathroom break.
Well, I can't think of a better way to spend a winter than being here at Outdoor Resorts in Indio. You know, it's really a very special place.
It is a very special place, and living in the Horizon for 2 months has been very special and exceeded our expectations.
You know, speaking of expectations, I think we're supposed to be over at the neighbors.
Nope.
So we will see you soon.